Okay, in this position it's white's turn to move. Who do you think has an advantage here? Use your evaluation thinking method and then say who do you think is better. You can pause the video to think about it. Okay, so in this position it should be clear that white has an advantage for a few reasons. First of all, his pieces are better developed. We can see that specifically when we compare the rooks. Also, his king seems to be a bit safer because this white king is well protected behind the 3 white pawns, whereas the black king doesn't have a pawn shield in front of him anymore, so he's a bit exposed. Okay, so I'm going to suggest 2 moves in this position. The move queen to e3 or the move queen takes g7, winning another pawn. Which move would you play in this position if you were white? Pause the video to think about it. Okay, so let's look at this move first of all, which is actually a very sad move because you are helping black. And I always say you shouldn't help your opponent. You should let them help themselves. Then maybe they make a mistake. Okay, the reason why this move is so sad is, look at this. Now our queen is under attack. The rook has a lot of pressure on the g file. He coordinates with this bishop. There's going to come some threats against our king here. And suddenly our king is the king that's unsafe. You see, by just being a bit too materialistic, grabbing a pawn, white helps black way too much. Don't help your opponent. Let him find out a way to develop this rook himself. You don't have to help him find a good way. That's why this move makes a lot more sense. It keeps the position solid, it keeps your advantage, moves the queen to a safe square. We're threatening to take on b6, and if black takes our pawn, we can now play a move like c1 and start exposing this c file even more. Okay, so that's the first example. Let's look at the second one. Black to move here. Use your 5-step evaluation thinking method and then say who do you think has an advantage here. Okay, if you had a tough time deciding who has advantage here, you were probably on the right track because it is difficult to say who has an advantage. White has got this strong pawn here in the center, but he's got a little bit of a problem with his pawn structure. Specifically, the c3 pawn may become a target. But that said, there aren't much in this position that we can say that either side has a significant advantage. Okay, so I'm going to suggest 2 moves. Compare the move pawn to f6 or the move rook f to b8. Which one would you prefer here? Pause the video to think about it. Okay, let's look at this move first of all, which is not a very good move. Well, first of all, of course, white can't capture us because of this tactic here. And the pawn is pinned by the bishop. So white must just be careful of that. But the problem with this pawn move is it gives up some protection of the knight. And now we lose a pawn. And we don't only lose a pawn, we also compromised our king safety. You don't want to find moves that compromise your king safety or compromise your evaluation of your position. You want to find moves that improve your position. So that is why this move, even though it looks like a very simple move, is better. It takes an undeveloped piece and puts the rook on the open file. Maybe the rook can go to b2 next and add some pressure with the help of the bishop on f2. And the point is, the move rook to b8 improves black position. Even if it's just a little bit, that's often what strategy is about. Just finding small improvements in your position. At least don't weaken your position like this with an unnecessary move. Okay, so those were the exercises for today. And then I'll see you again tomorrow. Cheers.